This weekend on the original Rochester Press Box.
I'm Gene Battaglia from ESPN Rochester. Bills fans, it's not as bad as you think at quarterback.
And I'm John DiTullio. I've got some stats that are going to make Bills fans feel better when they sleep tonight.
And I'm Mike Catalana. The Sabres made the right move for the Amherst.
I'm Bill Pucko. Will Ray Rice get a second chance? Join us this weekend on the original Rochester Press Box. Hello, everyone, and welcome into the original Rochester Press Box. I'm Bill Pucko, joined as always by John DiTullio from Fox Sports 1280.
Just thankful you have me back each and every week, Billy. Thank you.
It's good to have you. Mike Catalana co-hosting 13 WHAM News.
Good to be back.
And it's a pleasure to welcome in. Boy, it's been a long time. Gene Battaglia, the last time we had you on the program, we were doing this from McGregor's downtown.
That's right, a couple of years ago, one of the first shows. Great to be back.
Yeah, it's good to have you from ESPN Rochester. Welcome. You're the football expert over at the ESPN Rochester, I understand. Going to Bills camp, you know, it's been the focus of everything. Give us an overview and try to talk about something other than the quarterbacks.
All right, we'll save the quarterbacks for later. Excitement level, I mean, the first year for the Bills at Fisher was 2000. I can't compare it to anything other than maybe that first year. There is a fan base that is excited for this team. It has a different energy with Rex Ryan there. The defense, as in the case of most camps, seems to be ahead of the offense. But you look at some of the skill players on this Bills offense, and yes, okay, the quarterback is going to be an issue. Sammy Watkins, when healthy, he is making plays out there, Bill. There are playmakers on this team. There's reason for Bills fans to be excited right now.
Is it mostly Rex, you think?
You know, he just kind of has the 180 effect as compared to Marrone, where Marrone was not media friendly. Here you have the most media savvy head coach in the NFL today, and this fan base is eating it up, and I think the players are kind of responding at this point.
The popularity of this outfit puzzles me. That they're the record-breaking, the attendance, the ticket sales and everything. I don't fully get it.
You mean that the Bills themselves?
Yeah.
No, I think there's people who are optimistic.
Sure.
I think they're thinking that this is going to change. You know, what's interesting at camp, Rex is, you don't really notice Rex as much at camp. I mean, he walks around like most coaches. I mean, he's not out yelling and screaming. They did see him put his hands up during a touchdown and all, but you have to look for him. It's moving. There's a lot going on at camp. I will agree that there's excitement, but honestly, I know we don't want to talk about the quarterbacks yet, but the quarterbacks keep everybody a little tempered. I've seen people get very excited over, obviously Flutie when he was here. I've seen them get very excited over J.P. Lossman for a while. I mean, like people were chanting for J.P. when he was first there and first playing. So there's moments of excitement, and they're excited about McCoy and excited about Harvin and all these guys. But that's the only part that keeps it from being that way. I think people know they're good. This team is good. They're nervous that the quarterback's going to hold them back.
It was a perfect storm. The Pagulas buy the team, and then they hire a guy. Bills fans have always complained, we want a coach who's animated, right, with a personality. Well, you got that guy. You've got a rock star in Rex Ryan who speaks the language, right? He is meant, you hear the word authentic, and that's what Western New York is. To me, he is perfect. He was meant to coach the Buffalo Bills. Most talented team they've had since 03-04. But as Gino and Mike have mentioned, the quarterback situation's a mess. But they got with an elite defense, you're almost guaranteed 8 to 9 wins. Really, that quarterback's going to have to win a few games.
Yeah.
And for them to get in the playoffs.
Gene, I'm concerned if this goes south on them. And it could, I mean, you're opening up against Indy and New England. And a lot of things could go wrong that Rex becomes, after all he's said, becomes a real fall guy here.
Well, yeah, and then after that you go to Miami, and that's an improved Dolphin team, and then you get a Giants team. I mean, 1-3 could happen, so everybody keep that in the back of your mind. But then, you know, the last time, well, 2 times ago when Wade Phillips' first year, they started out 0-3 that year. So just keep that in the back of your mind.
What do you say about the excitement? I mean, that could be very fleeting, right?
I think Rex skates because he can just say, hey, listen, I don't have a quarterback. I think that's his. Listen, he may lose a little bit of that honeymoon period, but I think if they belly up and go 7-9, he's going to say, listen, I think all the fans will point towards it's the quarterback's fault. It's not Rex's fault. go out. It's Doug Whaley's fault. Doug Whaley will take the fall before Rex will, I believe, because of that hazmat 3 they've got playing quarterback.
You had to get that in. That's
I had
awesome.
to. I've been dying to
That
say
is just
it.
awesome.
Thank you.
Ray Rice is still looking for work when the original Rochester Press Box continues. Welcome back to the original Rochester Press Box. Michael, Ray Rice is 28 years old. He's had a full year to rest up. He's injury-free. He's nowhere to be found in NFL camp. Is his career done?
No, I don't think it's done. I think he eventually will get a chance, but we're talking about a combination of a guy that, because of that video, makes him the guy for this issue.
Yeah.
And somebody needs to take a chance on him. The blatant truth is, if he were a better football player, he would be in a training camp right now. Somebody would bite the bullet and say, I'm going to take the heat that I'm still going to take, because he is a guy who has said all the right things and tried to do all the right things. But you're going to take that heat for a guy who is a 1,400-yard a season running back. And Ray Rice didn't show that in the last year and a half that he played, and I think that's why teams aren't ready to jump. But somebody will.
Yeah.
But you got to really say, is it worth the thing I have to take to bring Ray Rice in?
To pile on Mike's point, Greg Hardy, who did, to me, you can go on paper a lot. There's no video of what he did, but you put it on paper, you put them next to each other. Hardy's a lot worse of a person, yet he's with the Dallas Cowboys. The risk versus reward. If he was Adrian Peterson, he would at least had a workout.
Yeah.
I find it surprising no one's even brought him in for a workout and try to keep it under wraps, but they're fearful this gets out. Then you got to deal with all the other issues that come with Ray Rice.
It's so inherently unfair.
Yeah.
Unfair meaning that the video made such a difference, because the crime was the crime, and in fact he owned up to it right off the bat to his team. There were no problems with the facts of the matter, with or without the video. But the video kills him. But it doesn't make the offense any worse.
There's two separate issues. The video, which is horrible, but then if he were good, he'd be in an NFL camp. I mean, 2009, numbers to keep in mind, 5.3 average in 09. Last year he was playing down to a 3.1. A 3.1 is not going to cut it. Maybe he was battling through injuries, but the running back position in the NFL doesn't mean as much as it used to. Look at the Bills. They are loaded at that position. Are any of these guys going to get, possibility for a trade of Bryce Brown? No.
Without that video, though, he's in a camp, don't you think?
Yes, because I don't think he's the guy that every fan, I shouldn't say fan, every person paying attention from a more global perspective is focused on. Everybody knew Ray Rice. But if he was a better player, an owner would take the heat for it.
It's like the worst thing you can do, isn't it? Isn't it? Domestic violence is the worst thing you can do in terms of career wrecking.
It ranks. There's a few other things. There's a few heinous things you can do. If you're ranking them, it's near the top, if not at the top.
And yet, then, again, you go back and we keep bringing Ray Lewis up. He was
but
sainted.
ask yourself, if you own a company, would you want him representing your business? That's what I tell people. Don't you think Ray Rice should be playing? I go, perhaps, but you're the boss.
Yeah.
You're the boss of your company. Would you want Ray Rice as your employee? Just ask yourself that question.
Sadly, this is not the first incident, but it was the first incident where he was there. Here it is for everyone to see, and it made it a landmark case.
Like it or not, when the original Rochester Press Box continues. Hi everyone, I'm Bill Pucko. Classy Wolf Media is proud to be in its 5th year contributing quality local sports programming to the Rochester area on local network television. The Vision High School Sports Beat and the Rochester Press Box are making real contributions to the Rochester sports scene and offer unique and affordable sponsorship opportunities. To become part of this vibrant community, contact the Chuck Hinkle Agency at 690-8547 for more information. Welcome back to the original Rochester Press Box, a segment of the Press Box brought to you by the Hillside family of agencies. Michael, like it or not, your Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, I like a lot of what they've done with the roster because, again, everybody who knows me knows I cover the Bills. I'm an Eagles fan. That's the part where it's more emotional for me to watch them. And I watched this team that Chip had the last couple of years, and I thought, they're just not good enough. They were winning games, but they're just not good enough. But you don't know what the coaches are thinking. I think Chip looked at this thing and said, I'm going to change it. I think they're very interesting for a multitude of reasons. And obviously, I don't buy into the whole thing of Chip's motivation for why he made changes. He's changed a lot of people on that team. You talk about a Pro Bowl player, contract issue that he released. We're not talking about LaShawn McCoy. I'm talking about Evan Mathis, the guard.
Yeah.
So this idea that Chip did things for reasons, whether it's race or culture, it's his culture he's worried about is football. And I think he looked at his team and said, I got to change this thing. I'm going to make it the way I want it. This is the way I want to do it. I am single-focused, and that's what I'm going to do.
Is that the problem? I mean, no other team has had to deal with ex-players, 3 of them, hinting at racism within the organization.
Yeah,
that's a tough thing.
I think it happens to be some players. Look, I don't know of how he relates to players. I don't think he relates in that way very well with any of his players in that sense. But there sure are a lot of guys who like playing for him and have played for him before and have come back now to play for him. Played for him in college. They want to play for him in the NFL. I think he wants a certain kind of player. Now, when people say, is he a college kind of guy? I think the only thing that makes him a college kind of guy is he wants conformity. He wants guys to say to buy in because he loves the NFL part of it. He loves having the practice time. He loves being connected to the players this long. I don't think he's a college coach at all. I think he lives, sleeps, eats, drinks football all the time. I think that's what makes him an NFL guy. Now the question is, will players buy in? And the guys he has with him have bought in. If he wins, it will be fantastic. If he doesn't win, people will then jump on board and say, see, it won't work. I think it's a combination of things going right now. If Sam Bradford's healthy, you talk about quarterbacks, he can win, and he can win pretty big this year because he's got a lot of talent.
Probably has the most pressure of any coach. He's at the probably at the top. Near the top.
Brought it all on.
In terms of just winning and getting into the playoffs. That'll silence a lot of this stuff.
He has pressure,
right?
External pressure. He doesn't have internal pressure.
No, but external to win.
Because he controls the roster. He controls the coaching staff.
Yes.
And the owner is fully behind him. And the changes that he made, they brought in a lot of talent. They're not rebuilding. They're attempting to reload in that way. I guess the whole idea of race being a factor with him, anybody who follows this team knows he got rid of his 2 starting guards. He got rid of Evan Mathis and Todd Herremans, who were both Andy Reid guys, who were both white players on the offensive line. One of them was a Pro Bowl guy. He wants a different fit in there.
Gino, like it or not, the Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh, it's fun because like the Mets, the Blue Jays, it's a fan base, back to 1993. This team hadn't made the playoffs. Getting a David Price, he's a guy that, perhaps can be that horse. I mean, heck, he's top 3 ERA in the American League right now. So, yeah, this is fun. They're going to give the Yankees a run here in the American League East.
As we speak, it's a 5.5 game
Dangerous.
difference.
They're one of the best lineups. They always had a great lineup this year. Donaldson's hitting Bautista, but as Gino mentioned, you add now David Price to that top of your rotation. And you add Tulowitzki to already a good lineup. They're in it. If not for the division, they'll be in the hunt for the wild card. And I wouldn't sleep on Baltimore. I know they're 6.5 back at the time we tape. I love Buck Showalter.
I think it puts some pressure on the Yankees to make a deal. Get somebody in August.
We were talking yesterday. You think maybe James Shields, perhaps if he clears waivers. I think they've got to make a move. I think they've got to make a move in their rotation as they get into September.
Like it or not, over here, John, like it or not, Ronda Rousey.
Who doesn't love her? I mean, when LeBron James admits that he's nervous to meet her at the ESPYs, then you know you've made it. She's almost too good for her own. She's almost too good for her sport because he's running out of people to fight. I think she's great. This is what UFC needed. You've got a face now of your sport, and it's a female. I think she's dynamite. She's doing her own movie. The girl is, let's face it, beautiful, I think. And the girl can fight. And she's one of the most dangerous, if not the most dangerous person on the planet.
I would have thought that somebody could come in and actually have some people take that sport seriously.
Yeah.
And I think they do.
I think their base of fans have already taken it seriously. The thing is, you see the comparisons to Tyson because her fights can end like that. So if you're going to pay for it, they made you wait a little bit the other day, but you better be in front of the TV when it starts because it was over pretty fast. And I think that anger she built up against her opponent, I think that was real. I mean, when your opponent talks about suicide, when your father had committed suicide and makes that crack at her, she went out there to put her away quickly. I was very happy that she did as quickly as she did.
This portion of the Rochester Press Box is brought to you by the Hillside family of agencies. Unfinished Business is next. Welcome back to the original Rochester Press Box. We'd like to welcome in the Genesee Brewhouse is going to join us as a title sponsor come the 1st of September. We're glad to have them on board. We're going to do our first show filming September the 6th at the Brewhouse. You can put that down in your calendar and come join us for the original Rochester Press Box. Unfinished Business, John, take it.
I'm here to make Bills fans feel good, right? I know so much has been made about your 15-year playoff drought. What makes it so painful is that you're living it now. Hey, Mike's Eagles went from 1960 to 1978 without a playoff appearance. That would be 18 years. My Packers made the playoffs once I should say, in 21 years. Heck, Billy's Red Sox went 86 years without winning a World Series, right? I mean, you think about all the teams. The Pittsburgh Steelers, before 1972, had missed the playoffs 25 consecutive years. The Cardinals actually went 27 years. I can go on and on. Every NFL franchise, for the most part, has had a downtime, has had a dark time. What makes this painful for the Bills is that all of us are living in the moment right now. I can say this, at least your team never left for Baltimore. That's a little shot at the Cleveland Browns. Every franchise will go through a period, whether it's the Bears, whether it's your Patriots, everybody will have their dark days.
Well, that'll never happen.
But everybody, so Mike's Eagles went through it for 18 years in between their championship and their next playoff appearance.
I think when it finally happens, I think we're really going to enjoy it. Because I remember the tail end of the Kelly years when they were making playoffs every year, we were bored by it. Yeah. That Houston game didn't sell out.
Yeah.
Yep, and the Giants went 63 to 81. They went 18 years in between playoff appearances. Sorry, Mike.
Now, no, but the only difference is currently the league has changed a little bit. The turnover, teams, now when you look at it, there's very few teams. I mean, back then there were a lot of bad football teams that kind of stayed towards the bottom.
True.
Now you can move around a little quicker. The game is so big now. The NFL is so big now. You just want to be part of it.
Trying to make the Bills fans feel better.
Okay, feel better.
I'm trying to make them feel better at this point.
Gene Battaglia.
Well, what would make him feel better, Johnny, is a quarterback that could be competent, and that is the number one topic. Really, it's the only topic for the Buffalo Bills at this camp, and I'm here to tell you, I'll quote your guy, RELAX. That's what Aaron Rodgers said last year.
There you go.
And that was in the regular season, and that was after a win. All this overreaction here in training camp. Please, name me one training camp where the offense was ahead of the defense. Defense is always ahead of the offense. The Buffalo Bills are still working on things here in the preseason. Give these guys a little bit of a chance. Now, I'm not saying that any one of these three guys is a franchise quarterback. Not even close. But in a league where not too long ago, Rex Grossman made a Super Bowl, one of these guys, all you're asking is, can the Buffalo Bills win one more game than they did last year? Make it 10-6, get into the playoffs. I think that guy, either if it's Castle, if it's E.J. Manuel, everybody take a step back, let these guys figure it out.
It's come up. I mean, what do you think? And John, you were bringing it up on your show yesterday about the percentage that the quarterback that runs the Bills this year is not on the roster right now?
Well, look at last year.
Yeah.
We go through the whole preseason, and all of a sudden Kyle Orton's on the team.
Yeah. Mike, what year was it where the Bills didn't score an offensive? Was that the year T.O. was here, 09?
Yeah.
The offense was so bad in the preseason, and it carried over
into
the regular
Yeah.
season. So that's what I'm fearful of this camp.
And to Gene's point, it's a lot easier to relax when your quarterback's Aaron Rodgers. All right, speaking of coaches, I really like what the Sabres did, bringing Randy Cunneyworth in to be the head coach of this team. They needed a guy who can both develop the young players and relate to the veterans who they're going to need in Buffalo at some point. This franchise hadn't won a playoff series in 10 years. They need to start winning. The Sabres hit their low mark. They got their guys. They're trying to move up. It's time for the Amerks to start winning too. And I think Randy Cunneyworth, though Chad Cassidy did a nice job for what he had, even Ron Rolston before that, they needed the right guy in there. And I think they got it with Randy Cunneyworth.
You know, it's a catalyst too. I see this, you know, with the Sabres and the new guys that are coming in, the organization, the ownership, RIT plays into this.
Yep.
This is like a hockey renaissance. We could be right on the verge of something really good, I think, in this town.
Yeah, I think fans are excited, but as I said, they need to start winning. It's been too long in Rochester.
Very cool. We'd like to thank the Hillside family of agencies for sponsoring the original Rochester Press Box, and the Genesee Brewhouse, which will be joining us the 1st of September as a title sponsor. We thank them too. John, we thank you.
You're more than a game manager, but you did a great job today.
Well, I appreciate it. You were just couldn't wait to say that, could you?
I'd die to say that.
Mike, thank you.
Can you throw the football? Head to Fisher.
All right, I'm on my way. Me and Gene, right? Gene Battaglia, thanks for joining us. We'll shorten the time span between our visits from now on.
Thanks for having me, Bill.
All right, thanks for joining us in the original Rochester Press Box.